So I have dyslexia, which I didn't really know was going to impact me until I started writing on a whiteboard.
One of my students is like, Miss Rob, I dare you to hop that fence. So I no lie, in a skirt. And I'm like, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, you committed.
I was committed.
And we had to do standardized testing. I think I can tell the story because the statute of limitations is probably up.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
On whatever it was. No.
I'm not liable for whatever's about to come out of this man's mouth.
So
I do not submit to whatever it is he says.
I will say, like, standardized testing was the thing that, like, sucked all of the joy out of the classroom. Like,
just do different accents.
yeah.
Hello, good morning, kids. Top of the morning to you. Today we're working on math. Turn around right now. And I turn around and they just blast. I was like, you little murderers.
Literally, they're just going around trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Miss Rob, I'm going to clock his teeth. I was like, clock his teeth. Literally, as this school year has been eye-opening. I cannot keep up.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Teachers Off Duty. I am Jess Smith. So excited to be with you here today because I have two amazing people with me.
I am Leslie Robb of Leslie Robb Comedy. I'm so excited to be back.
And
I'm Brian Moote.
oh, you did it. Yay.
I did. Yeah, at Moote Comedy. I'm excited. Yeah, this is fun. Good to tell. We've already been trading war stories.
Yes.
We got a good. Today's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun.
I'm very, very excited about today. This is your first time on the Teachers Off Duty podcast,
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah. I'm new to the tour, which has been awesome. Every city we've been to so far, it's incredible. I think the unique part about doing the shows for teachers is one, they get the references that other crowds still laugh at, but like they get it.
They get it. Yep.
Oh, they feel that one.
souls.
When you talk
Legit.
about that kid Bryce who always corrects you in class, they're like, I had a Bryce.
But his name was Dylan.
I had a Dylan. Sometimes
Exactly.
kids sometimes walk in and you see they tell you their name and you're like, you're gonna be that kid.
Yep. You're like, I already
Raising
know.
your hand. Ooh, no, enough of you. Stop raising your hand, Bryce.
I was that kid in school.
Do you
I know.
recognize that now?
I do. It's very embarrassing. It's a little cringy to look back on myself as a fifth grader. I was the one that was like holding her hand up on
Always?
the desk. Yeah. Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was not that kid. So I have dyslexia, which I didn't really know was going to impact me until I started writing on a whiteboard.
That was the
hellacious.
end all and be all, right?
Because I can't do vowels. I get them all confused. And then I have a Bryce in there who's like, you spelled unnecessary wrong. I'm like, yeah, I know that. Because that's why I wrote it in cursive with like squiggles and just spoke it out loud.
You get the point, Bryce.
I understand.
Right.
I don't know how to spell. That part, when you don't know how to spell, it's like, you don't know it until you do. And you're like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're just like up there at the
And-
whiteboard like,
well, and my handwriting looks like I'm writing a hostage note.
Re-
Like I don't even know if I'm right or left-handed at this point. Like, just
You're
my
like,
writing
I'm
is,
just ambidextrous.
You're just like
Yeah.
both hands.
Legit.
it looks like when you see my writing on a whiteboard, it looks like you have to narrate it like, if you ever want to see your family again, you send us $1,000 in unmarked bills. That's my life. That's how I learned that I was not that kid. I used to count when I was in elementary school or middle school, when we had to read out loud.
Oh, yeah.
It was my nightmare. And I'd
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
count when you have to read out loud. I'd count the paragraphs.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And then I'd memorize it. And then one person would be like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Like, you ruined my whole plan. No.
You're like, I had it down to a science.
I knew which paragraph was mine. Now I don't. I'm going to have to wing it.
I was that kid just because I have
You're like, I'll
anxiety.
step in.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Brian doesn't want,
Jess.
I'll do it.
I'll
Can I
do
read
it.
two?
1,000%.
You're one of those
I
kids.
have always been one of the theater girls. Like
You're one of the kids that the teacher would be like, okay, you're good, Jess, stop.
Stop.
I was always
talking.
looking up, like, waiting for, like, the you're good on the reading out loud thing. And you're just like, I'll just keep going if
Yeah,
that's
I'll
fine.
go as far as I need to.
Oh,
I'll
I'd
take
love
her
to.
turn and his turn and his turn.
Wait, that unlocked a memory for me. I forgot that teachers used to do that. like they let some kids just like keep reading. And I remember being like so proud that I got like 3 paragraphs in when the kid behind me got like 1.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, they're like, let's not have Brian stutter through this.
Oh my gosh, I'm exposing myself like in like my craziness.
Well, also,
you're like, put it back in, girl.
But now you got to look at it from this standpoint. Why was your teacher doing that? Because she's like, well, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, so she's
It
like,
is
listen.
2:05 and I am not messing around with this social studies chapter anymore. Jess, rattle through it. Brian, you're good.
Give it a little more razzle dazzle, Jess. Let's go.
Perform it, but a little bit faster.
Well, and from the teacher perspective, you'd almost be grateful for that kid. You're like, oh man, Jess isn't here today.
Yeah.
It's gonna take all day.
We're gonna have Brian chip his way through this one.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. You know,
Mispronouncing everything.
Poor Brian.
All these historical French towns. I'm like,
Oh.
I don't know. Milan? That's Milan. I don't know. Leave me alone.
I don't know.
Switzerland? Brian, I think you switched some letters around in there. Probably.
You're like, no, most likely, actually.
Yeah. Not happy to be here today, to be
Yeah.
honest. Reading out loud is not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Well, we have a passage for you to read later.
Oh my God, that would be my nightmare. We should do that. Pull up a 5th grade social studies paragraph and see if I can stumble through.
Here we go.
Right
Mr.
now.
Mute is gonna read this.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna read 5 letters and hand it off to Jess.
Speaking of handing things off to Jess, I am going to tell you where the Board Teachers Comedy Tour is coming.
Love that transition.
Okay, right? That
Well
was
played.
pretty good. This is my dream to
We
read off.
pretty much sold the
cities.
shows pretty well, so you're gonna want to catch these dates.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to. Because tonight we are in New Haven, Connecticut. I will be at that show. I will somehow teleport my way to that show.
Connecticut, by the way, is how you pronounce it.
Connect I cut.
Connect,
yes.
I cut.
Well played.
Yes. And then next weekend, we are going to be in Kansas City, Missouri, Salina, Kansas, Omaha, Nebraska. And then our last show of the spring is in Huntsville, Alabama. That's the postponed show. That is on May 18th.
Yeah, I was part of that one that got postponed. I'll see you in May 18th. It's
Yeah.
my birthday weekend, too, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
my birthday weekend. And also apologize to everyone in Alabama, but it was tornadoes were crazy. So we just want everyone,
I'm
everyone
sure.
had to be safe.
I'm really glad that was the decision that was made because
That's insane.
Now, I mean, look, think about it this way. We saved you guys from being stuck for hours
Right.
with people you just met. You know what I mean? And odds are, if we had to hunker down in Huntsville, you'd be stuck like you're a Brian who can't read out loud. You'd be stuck next to a Jess. Who wants
and
to
it
read
would
under?
have been your honor.
I would have been so excited.
Okay.
All of our phones have died. Now we have to have conversations with each other.
Meanwhile, I'd be the shy person. Literally, you can tell right now. Literally, we're all are our elementary selves. I'm the shy one who just never said anything and just stared and was just like, whatever you guys say, I'll do whatever you say.
I'm really going with it, guys.
I'm just going with it. Whatever you guys want to do, I'll do it.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
That
It's
sounds
fine,
really
guys.
great.
And I think it's awesome that Jess reads, and I think it's awesome that Brian stumbles. That would be me.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's great.
We're all wonderful at it.
Everything's just awesome.
You know what? Pick your lane and go with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. After the spring shows are done, we take a break. We take summer break because teachers
Have to.
love a summer break.
Yes.
And then we move on to the fall, and we are going all over the world this fall.
Whoop,
I
whoop.
can't believe the dates that we are doing and the places that we are doing because we are going down under. We're
Out
going
back.
to
Put another shrimp on the barbie.
There it is.
Shrimp on the barbie.
Do you want to read these
No.
names? These cities?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. No.
Brian, where'd you go? Brian, come back.
I don't need a turn. It's whatever you guys want to do.
Totally fine. I don't need a turn.
I don't need it.
I don't need a turn. That was literally me as a kid.
Oh, you poor thing. Okay, Australian teachers, we are coming to you. Adelaide, Perth, Melbourne, Sydney. Oh, Sydney has a second show added.
Whoop whoop. Did not realize that.
Sydney.
Okay, y'all.
Canberra and Brisbane, and another show in Brisbane too.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Look at this. We're doubling up, guys.
I'm
That's how serious it's gotten.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the Australian teachers. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And the New Zealand teachers too. Auckland. We will be in Auckland, New Zealand, and that's this
Auckland.
September.
Did you know that Blueie and her family live in Canberra?
No.
Yeah. How do I know that? I have a 2-year-old who found Bluey. And I've seen every single episode.
Bluey is like the new jam right now.
9,000 times I've seen them all.
Everybody loves Bluey.
But like, there could be worse. There
You know
could
what?
be worse
I will say
shows.
this. What I do like about Bluey, it's got Australian humor in it. So like the
Yes.
parents will have hangovers and stuff. Like they'll be real parents.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said the guy designed
Yeah.
it for, so that parents can actually watch
Yeah.
it with their kids because of the fact that it literally is relatable.
They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to play a game today. And they're like, as long as it involves me not moving one little bit from the floor. Like, you were at Uncle Stripes last night dancing on the table for New Year. How did you know? Muffin sent us a video. Man, how so
Muffin.
Muffin, you snitch.
Oh my gosh, I do love Bluey.
I've never seen it.
Really?
No.
You have
Yeah,
to.
and I'm like, and I teach high school, so obviously, you know, if I taught elementary or something like that, maybe it'd come up.
Yeah.
No, it still comes up in high school.
Get
Like
Bluey.
the kids are like, man,
Grown
Bluey
men
is what's up.
cry.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh no,
My-
when Bandit almost sold the house, spoiler alert.
I watched my husband
Yeah.
sob on the couch.
Because we start to relate to those characters as parents. You just
Yeah.
like,
Wow,
Bandit's
guys.
me, I'm Bandit.
I
for-
know.
When my 2-year-old was like, when he was a little, like an infant, and I was just at home all day, and then he's 1, he starts finding the show. My only friend was Bandit.
Oh.
So you know what? If you don't
Brian.
have kids, look forward to it.
I
Your
don't
only-
have kids.
Yeah, exactly, Leslie. You know what? Someday, if you ever want kids, you'll look and be like, you know who? Chili's my
Chili.
best friend.
OMG.
Bluey's mom.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
know.
so fun.
You gotta binge it before the Australia shows.
Okay, guys, apparently. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got to do. I got to binge Bluey.
So that we are coming back to the U.S. for October. We'll be in New Brunswick, New Jersey, Springfield, Massachusetts, Poughkeepsie, New York, Tarrytown, New York, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Des Moines, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, and Rockford, Illinois. And then November, we're going to Riverside, California, Long Beach, Houston. Oh, this is going to be a fun run. Houston, Dallas, Waco,
Woo.
San Antonio. And
Texas.
December, Toledo, Lansing, Midland.
Wow.
Oh, you gotta let me
Michigan.
try that one.
Yeah.
Pachogi.
For 2 shows. You got to do it again.
Pachogi twice. I know there's no way I pronounced that right.
Yes,
so
you did. It's
go
you
ahead.
did good.
Hit
You
the
did
comment
really good.
section.
Thanks, Elementary Leslie.
Yes, you did so good, Brian.
You did your best.
It was amazing. You did
All
the
we
best
need is for
you
you
It's
to
could.
actually Pachogi.
duh.
I don't actually know.
Duh.
Pachog?
Pachog.
Pachog.
Patchog.
Patchog.
Sounds like a barbecue dish.
I know,
It
right? Now I'm
does.
starving.
Like with barbecue on it, like good old barbecue
Yeah.
sauce.
Albany, New York, and then Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for December, and then the year's over, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it'll be here before
Four
you know it,
Teachers
too.
Comedy Tour is rolling through,
Killing
the
it.
whole entire world,
all over.
So excited. This week's episode is a very special one because we are all on the Board Teachers Comedy Tour, so we use humor a lot to cope, and we help other teachers cope through the comedy tour. And we today want to talk about the importance of using humor in the classroom. What are the benefits of it? What are some drawbacks? And maybe some of the epic fails that we've had to bring humor into the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing is I don't know about you guys, but I even take humor outside of the classroom on field trips because literally, let me tell you what happened. Okay. I'm in the middle of DC and, you know, the mall, the National Mall, they call it the mall, but, you know, it's actually the outside where the statues and all the things, the monuments. Okay. We're in the middle of the mall. And one of my students is like, Miss Rob, I dare you to hop that fence. And I'm like, and I'm always telling the kids, okay, whatever, guys. I'm never going to turn down a dare. So I know lie. In a skirt.
Well, because the disrespect. The disrespect they showed to your face when you couldn't. They looked at you like, there's no way.
Who said I couldn't?
She can't do that. And you saw on their
Oh.
face, like this she's old. She's
Yeah,
not
and they're
jumping
like,
the fence.
there's like, number one, she's not going to do it. And number two, she's never going to clear that fence. And I was like, yeah, I will. So I literally, in a skirt, backed up to get a running start.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You get down like in the sprinter blocks, put your hands
And
on
I'm
the
like,
grass.
here we go. Flip-flops and all, y'all. Okay, I'm like, let me take off the flip-flops. Okay, and so I get back.
Oh,
in a
you
room.
committed.
I was committed. Okay, and I get to a running start. I go running. I get halfway, one leg over. The other leg gets hooked on the fence. I flip.
No.
Legs in the
In
air.
your skirt.
Skirt.
Awesome.
Yeah. my students got to see a different side of Miss Rob in more ways than one.
Did you stick it though when you got up like
I did.
Carrie Strug?
I did. And then I
nailed
started to
this.
walk and realized I broke 2 toes.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was great. It's great. Yeah. I have it on video.
You have it on video. We're going to need to see
We have it on
that
video now.
footage.
We have it on video.
Yeah.
I still have it on video. Yeah, it's kind of.
I think
Yeah.
the disrespect from kids when something like that happens, like the look on their face that they don't think you can do something, is what fuels this.
Teachers Off Duty is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, teaching is a lot. We're constantly problem solving, emotional juggling, managing everyone else's emotions. So it's really, really easy to put our own mental health last. Thankfully, we've made progress in talking openly about therapy, but the stigma still lingers. In fact, 26% of Americans say that they've avoided getting support because they're afraid of being judged. The truth is, when we don't take care of ourselves, it affects everyone around us, our families, our students, our coworkers. This Mental Health Awareness Month, let's be the ones who normalize asking for help, not just surviving on caffeine and stress, but actually taking care of ourselves. Therapy isn't just for crisis moments. It's a way to build coping skills, set boundaries, and stay grounded in a pretty chaotic world. If you're thinking about getting support, BetterHelp makes it so easy. They have over 30,000 licensed therapists, all online, so it's flexible and affordable and convenient. And if you want to switch therapists, it's no problem. No extra cost. They'll switch it up for you. So prioritize yourself. You deserve it. Check out BetterHelp today. We are all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/TOD today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TOD.
Because I had a similar situation. I'm 6'4", played college basketball, and like I could dunk back in the day. So I told some kids, kindergartners, mind you.
Oh man.
I told some kindergartners, they're like, "Hey man, can you dunk?" And I was like, "Of course I can dunk. I'm 6'4", and I'm like 23 years
They're gonna
old."
call your bluff.
Well, I didn't know I could. At that point in time, I probably hadn't tried to dunk in a couple years, but. And then they started laughing at me. Yeah, right. Laughing at me, which was so frustrating because I'm 6'4". Yeah, they're 5. And they're all like 4.5 feet tall. If I tell you I could jump onto the roof of the school, you should believe me. I'm huge compared to you. I'm Shaquille O'Neal compared to these kids. So then, like, the worst thing ever happened. He's like, "Prove it." And I was like, "Oh, no.
Oh, man.
I thought you were just going to
Now
take
you got to.
Yeah.
I mean.
You just take my word for it. So I was like, well, I don't have a ball. I've never been hit with more basketballs in my life than when I said I don't have a ball. Balls are flying from like every part of the playground at me to fix
The
this.
third grade teacher was like,
Yeah, there you go, prove it. Because I had no idea. And let's say at this point in time in my and I was always on recess duty because I was, like a fun kindergarten teacher. So at this point in time, I hadn't let's put it this way. I could dunk back in the day. Now, everything has to be perfect. And I'm like, I got a ball, and I have the first ball I have. This kid goes, "That's a girl's ball," and I was like, I'm like, man, these kids are really, and I'm just praying for the bell to ring. I'm praying for the bell.
bouncing
let
it,
me out of
just
this.
ready.
I'm like praying for the bell to ring. I'm like taking my time, and I'm like, and I'm trying to stretch without stretching. Where you're just kind of taking long walks and but you're like, you don't want to look like you're warming up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like delaying the inevitable, and I'm like checking the wind because I got to make sure I can't dunk into the wind.
Oh my God.
I can't get enough speed for it, right? So I go running for it, and I go and I get up there and I rattle it down barely enough to count for a dunk.
Yeah.
In your 20s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
as a grown man on a playground, and
Trying to
and I
impress
look at him,
5-year-olds.
and I lost my mind. I was like, "Yeah!" Pointing at the scoreboard. I was like, "These kids are gonna respect me." And he goes, "So what? You're huge," and then walked off.
You're like, all that build up for what?
Yeah, and I'm like, "That's what I told you earlier. Why did we even
Yes.
have this?" And I definitely pulled a hamstring, but
Of
just
course.
the sheer
But you
disrespect.
proved.
Well, kind of. Yeah, to me, I proved it. I was like, "You still got it, buddy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Give
didn't.
yourself that pat on the back.
One kid goes, "You didn't dribble," and I'm like, "Okay, come on, dude." Yeah, I traveled. I traveled
So
trying
does
to.
every other player in the
Yeah.
NBA.
Right.
Exactly. Also, I'm gonna have to deal with this with my counselor. Is why I felt so so disrespected by a bunch of 6-year-olds.
And had to prove your point.
Yeah. Oh,
Now, here's the thing, though. Was that basketball hoop a standard basketball size?
See,
or
I'm sure
was it kindergarten
I know.
level?
Did someone have to
No, it was
put it
You know
down?
the little
for you?
plastic
Yeah.
Trust
blue
me.
one with the
One
little
end,
tykes
yeah.
one,
little
yeah.
tights? Yes.
One end had the small hoop and the other end had the big hoop. And I
Okay.
looked at the small hoop and I was like, I wonder if they'll let me. And I was like, there's no way.
If they weren't letting you get away with the girls'
No.
regulation ball,
Yeah. No.
That's when I knew that they were serious.
they were not playing.
They
Yeah.
were messing around.
But
We
you
were-
know, though, like in you doing that, even like the small little silly things like that, it does hit different. We have to prove our point,
Yeah.
because they called us out on it. But it's also that time that, it helps us to connect and bond with them too, because then they're like, oh, wow. Like,
Yeah.
I like, it literally creates that relationship bond with them too, though.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they all tell the story of when that cool kindergarten teacher dunked a basketball. I don't think that's probably a story that they tell, but I'd like to think so.
Well, yeah, and in my situation,
Yeah.
mine would actually go international because literally we had like 5 foreign exchange students with us on that trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, my story's international.
Oh,
Spain, France. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's out there.
The skirt hurdle, never a good
Yes,
idea.
it'll
Skirt
never.
hurdle.
I'll never live it down.
The skirt hurdle of
Mhm.
whatever year that was.
Exactly. It was a few years back.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's
so
great.
funny.
It's awesome,
But
guys.
again, like you were saying, it does help us relate to our students.
Oh
a
yeah,
whole lot
for
more.
sure.
I feel like there is this idea of teachers that we do have to be serious all the time,
Mhm.
and where we're not necessarily open to the shenanigans of it all, or we can't be. And I just never agree with that, because there's always time to laugh.
Oh yeah.
And especially with the kids.
Yeah. And what cracks me up is when you mention it to like teachers who are either seasoned or the ones who don't
Mhm.
usually use humor in their classroom. They're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just not funny. I'm like, we know.
Yeah.
We know.
We get the vibe.
We do.
Like, don't try to be fun.
Exactly.
Don't try to be someone you're not.
Right.
You're not
And then
funny
they're
on
like, well,
purpose. that's for
so then
sure.
how do I bring humor in the classroom then? I'm like, well, you incorporate use other things. Like, there's plenty of YouTube videos that are funny. Tell a
Mhm.
dad joke. Like,
Mhm.
make your
Yeah.
kids laugh. Like in some easy way. Like even get a joke book. Like the kids my kids crack me up. They're like, Miss Rob, stop. Because if I can see one of them is really down and I'm just like, come on, you're not gonna laugh right quick. Come on, just give Rob a little snicker. And they're like, come on, Miss Rob. And then I say a joke, like some random dad joke. Like I remember I said one time, I was like, you know what? You should be like Elsa. Okay. I said, when it comes to things, you don't let Elsa hold your balloon. Okay. Because she'll just let it go. And he's like, Miss Rob, just stop. Just
But you really got to lean
please.
into the character. You got to just keep going.
You got
the
it.
second
Just-
verse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, oh, yeah. Now listen.
Because that's what makes it goes from like, okay, that's not funny, to like, this is really not funny, to really, really funny 90 seconds in. When everyone's like, she's just going to keep singing this
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, I ended up coming up with a thing called Miss Rob's, what does that call it? Miss Rob's corny joke corner. And so anytime I was like, oh, we're going to the corner, guys. I said, and I'll just make stuff up on the fly.
Just,
One I was
saunter
really
over to
proud
the
of.
corner.
One of them I was really proud of. I said, guys, what do you do? I know. I said, how does a musician give a gift? And they're like, how? I said, they rap it.
You
they're
got
like-
me on that one.
I was proud of that.
That's
Anyway,
a really good one.
just saying.
That's a really good one.
Whatever works. Like you just want the kids to laugh. Like lighten the mood because they come in and they all come from some various backgrounds,
Yeah.
various things that are going on at home that we have no
Mhm.
idea about,
Yeah.
especially in the at-risk schools that I teach in. Like we have no idea what these kids deal with on a regular basis. Or even the last time they even felt comfortable enough to laugh.
Mhm.
So yeah, any way we could do that, it just breaks the ice.
All right. If you're a teacher, we don't have time for like a 10-step skincare routine after a very, very long day of chasing kids, grading papers, and surviving, hopefully, on coffee. I used to just grab whatever moisturizer I could find in my drawer, and honestly, my skin showed it. Dry patches, breakouts, nothing ever felt right. Then I found Le Pure, and it's the first thing that's actually simplified my life and helped my skin. It's beef tallow based, which sounds super fancy, I know, but basically it means that it works with your skin, not against it. So it absorbs super fast, feels rich, but not greasy. And I noticed a difference after the first week. I tossed out like 3 other products because Le Pure does it all. face, dry spots, even those like weird dry elbows you don't notice until you're writing on the board and the students call you out. Yeah. And it's made with real, all in natural ingredients. No chemicals you can't pronounce, no fake scents trying to cover that up. And even better, it's eco-conscious. So it's small batch, sustainable, with no extra junk. This is seriously the 2025 version of skincare. Real ingredients, real results, and no nonsense. If you're tired of routines that feel like just another thing to do on your to-do list, LaPure is the switch you need. Ditch the 10-step routine. Nourish naturally with LaPure's beef tallow face cream. Tap the link in our description and use code TOD and get 40% off your first order.
I had a class that was it was a behavior issue disorder class, and we had to do standardized testing. I think I can tell the story because the statute of limitations is probably up.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
On whatever it was. No,
I'm not liable for whatever's about to come out of this man's mouth.
So
I do not submit to whatever it is he says.
I hated it when they get super frustrated because when you're working with kids that you're trying to coach them through failure and being okay with, like, some kids are not okay with failing. Like, you could see they get so frustrated when they don't get something right. When you're working with kids that maybe have some special needs or they're working on math or things aren't clicking right yet, right? And we were doing standardized testing, and I hated that stuff because my class, like, that's an unfair standard, and we work really hard on these kids, like, being positive about everything that they're doing. And I was like, no, I'm not going to help you guys, but I'll kind of, like, they'd be like, well, I don't understand number 3. And I'd be like, well, I mean, bees like honey and they have a hive. And he's like, bee? And I'm like, I didn't say anything. So, because I just got so annoyed with the fact that, like, we were having to take this, it was the state of Washington, this whole standardized test for everybody. And by the end of it, it was like days. It took days because we get no time limit in the classroom that I was teaching. Yep. And so by the end of it, I was just like blatant, like C, D, like, and then I panicked after all that because I thought, oh my gosh, like, they're going to look at this classroom that I had and think to themselves, why are these kids, they aced it. Right. These kids are geniuses. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to set things back.
Oh, man.
And then guess what happened? Nothing, which means I probably got a bunch of those wrong.
I was about to say, I love the,
was it a reading question?
The confidence.
Yes, I was like, the
reading questions did it.
I torpedoed this test, and I'm like, this is bad. But you know what? If I get in trouble, I'm going to point out the flaws in the system. I'm going to make a big grandstanding point. I had this whole thing prepared because I was pretty sure that they were going to go, this one classroom nailed it, and these kindergartners probably shouldn't have hit at that clip. And that never happened, which means we tested dead on.
You're like, that means I'm the flaw.
Yeah.
I'm the problem, it's me.
I feel like I had them all hyped up, and I was just giving them wrong answers, like left and right. Like, I didn't understand the story questions.
Yeah.
That was hurtful.
Yeah.
I laughed at it,
sure.
though.
I will say, like, standardized testing was the thing that, like, sucked all of the joy out of the classroom. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember, like, the one way that I would try and bring joy back in was whenever like I had to read the instructions, the scripted instructions, I would have one of the kids, like, power me down and then, like, power up robot Miss Smith.
Oh, nice.
And then I would, like, read it like a robot and be this character.
Just do different accents?
Yeah.
Hello, good morning, kids. Top of the morning to you. Today we're working on math.
I usually just stuck with the robot voice. I didn't really get.
That was
should have
good.
done that. Yeah.
Whatever you're acting.
That's as far as it goes.
That's it.
You're like, after that, I got to cut it off.
Yeah. Then I started talking like myself, and they're like, "This is way worse."
Is awful. No.
It was way top of the morning was far better.
But, like, there's just, like, these things that you got to do. And I think that's what I miss most about being in a classroom is just the inside jokes. I love being on the inside of a joke. And because you create these communities with these classes and you end up having these, like, little things that you do, like, whether that's, like, inside jokes or, just, I think the important thing is to have those moments with those kids. And because that's what they remember the most.
Oh, for sure.
They're not going to remember whatever, like, you wrote on the board.
Right. Miss Rob's skirt is going to be.
Yeah, it's Miss Rob's skirt. It's Mr. Moote.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball.
Quote unquote dunking.
Yeah, it was about.
I love the quote unquote.
Look, I'm white enough that it counted. Let's just say the obvious. White man in my 20s
Well done.
at the time.
Well
It
done.
was a white guy dunk. You don't have to dribble when you're a white guy.
No.
And trying to dunk in front of a bunch of
That
kids.
is awesome. I'm sorry. That was
Sorry.
hilarious.
We had to say it. We should have said it during the story. But it needed to be stated out loud.
Well, yeah, you're like, listen, to restate the point. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten in trouble or like for using humor in the classroom? Has it ever gone too far or like?
Well, I think it just depends on. It was more of like the admin, like, and once I explained myself, I think it was a little bit better because sometimes, like me and my kids, we were just a plain trip, like literally, we're just a hot mess.
Yeah.
But like an admin that has a sense of humor, like my principal that I have now, I've talked about before on the podcast. He's awesome. Like he'll hop in a TikTok video. He'll whatever. But the most of the time, admin's like, listen, this is when things get out of control. And they feel like just because you're laughing with the kids and having a good time with them, that it somehow skews that authoritative role.
Right.
But I'm like, no. That's why if you already have a pre-established relationship with your students and if you bonded with them from the beginning, it doesn't matter how much we're laughing and playing. My kids know that they still have that level of respect. Yeah. That, okay, guys, now we're done. That time has passed and we're serious again. Yeah. And so, you don't usually have to go that far.
Right.
I didn't get in trouble, but I remember getting passive-aggressive comments for administration. Like, oh, boy, you guys are having a lot of fun today.
Oh.
Boy, a lot of fun in your class, huh? Like, yeah, because my environment, I can block out noise. Like, with the best of them. Like, I just, whatever I'm doing, chaos can be going on around me. Things were just loud in my classroom. It wasn't, like, it never bothered me. So, for some people walking by and looking through the windows, which is the worst, right?
The worst.
They look through those rectangular windows, you see some... those eyeballs, judgy eyeballs looking around through like the metal in the window. You're like, okay. Yeah. Oh, looks like they're, paper airplanes, huh? What? I wonder what that has to do with, is it science today? You guys are making paper airplanes or just having fun? Yeah. Also, when I was going to say this about testing, I learned a hard lesson in that too. When I told the kids, I was like, look, when we all get done, you can go in the back. We had like Legos and stuff. And I never had kids finish a test faster in my life. And then I was like, okay, no,
You're like,
there's no way it took you 90 seconds to do this test. None of you read one thing.
Yeah.
Like kids were just like, B, 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 B. I'm like, all right, my heart was in the right place. But maybe we don't need to I don't need to bribe you to finish. I was just trying to encourage you to stay focused.
You're like, I meant well.
Yeah, but all of a sudden I had 7 kids in the back after 2 minutes playing Legos.
That balanced out like you giving them answers.
Yeah, eventually. That's probably what did it.
Yeah.
We hit the mean eventually.
Well, and I have a solution for you for the teachers or admin or whoever who choose to look through your rectangular window. This is what I do. Is after the first lockdown drill, because we got to pull the black down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I forgot.
Just and so I just
leave it up there.
The amount of trouble that I would not get in.
Right.
Because I just cut everybody out. You would walk down that hallway, like teachers have their doors open, like you can hear them having pleasant,
You go say hi, neighbor.
I was like, everybody in. Okay, yes, let's party. Because as soon as that classroom door closed, like it was just us, and like that was the good part.
Yeah,
I think you always knew. Fun part, you always knew you were in a little bit of trouble with anyone in administration when you'd see him walk by, right? They'd be past that window, and you're like, and then
yeah. Ooh, yeah.
You're like, oh man,
something registered.
Yeah, you lean back with their head. Beep. What was that? What's going on there?
Yeah.
I feel like they're not working on that reading unit. I don't know what they're doing in there.
Yeah, but I'm the big BSer. Like I can fake it. Like if admin comes in, I can shift that into some type of lesson thing that goes with something that you've never heard of a day in your life. I am one of those ones. I can literally think on my feet and I can make it work and fit some type of standard or competency that we're supposed to cover. Yeah. I'm one of those ones. I can make it work.
Yeah.
That's just me.
At a certain point, I stopped caring.
That's you? Well, now I'm 17 years in and I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
let me go.
Like the first few years, like the people pleaser of me, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not on the lesson plan that I submitted to you. Oh no. And now I'm like, this is what's happening today. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
As you work in education at any level, you start the amount you care can be charted by how fast you get out of school on a Friday. Like I used to, if I didn't beat the buses out of the parking lot, I was enraged. Like I was like, there's no way I'm getting stuck by it. I'm the first one out of this school. Like we are ready. I'm walking out to the bus with the kids with all my bags. Like we're all going home.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you
It's
mean.
over. We did it.
Oh,
we
yeah.
nailed it, guys.
Yeah. We survived.
We totally crushed this week.
Legit. We did the thing. Like,
we did it.
We did it.
We did. High fives for everybody.
Yes.
I don't know how anybody scored.
But
I'll figure that out on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that now.
Yeah, no,
I'm not going to
now.
ruin a good day with actual reality and facts.
Yeah,
No way.
why would we do that? Now, do you guys agree with this, though, that the teachers who do have more of a sense of humor and do incorporate humor in the classroom last longer? I would say that they last longer in the profession, I think. Because if you stop taking yourself so seriously, you tend to, it lightens the load in a sense. Like the load to prove your merit, the load to impress, the load to, do all these unrealistic expectations, and you just learn to laugh about it. Like you literally take the pressure off. That's what I think. That's just like my 2 cents on that matter.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think to a certain point too, it gets frustrating for someone who does find the humor in things, or like, just is able to brush things off, to then be hit with like the alternate personality of like, you're not taking this seriously enough. Everything's serious. And it's hard to work. It's hard to work in that type of environment, because like my full personality can't thrive or is accepted.
Yeah.
I think it depends on, so humor is like a way, I think it's 2 ends of a spectrum. I think there are people who use humor and they last longer because they're like, look, I'm gonna have to laugh at this stuff, my failures. I'm gonna have to laugh at things that didn't go right because I don't want to take this home with me. It was a tough day. We're gonna have jokes. It helps me connect with my kids. And then there are teachers that are like, that's not me. So I think it's self-awareness to a certain extent, because some of the best teachers I had were super dry, like focus on everything. Brian, sit down. You're gonna finish this. But I don't think they took home the stress when things didn't go right. I think they were able to just compartmentalize it and say, I'm still good. I think it's the people in the middle who don't know how to make it funny, don't know how serious they should be, and then they go home and they stress about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the part that'll get you when you go home and you're like, you can't laugh at the fact that like you had your fly down for like 30 minutes.
Right.
Right? And you're like, and everyone's, and all these kids are like making fun of you, and you're like, oh God. Like no one wanted to say anything? And they're like, no, because we wanted to laugh at you.
Right.
I mean, by the way, thankfully, when that stuff happened, cell phone, TikTok, nothing. Like I would have been trending on the internet. They've been like, this.
Oh my gosh!
I would have gone like to the lounge like at lunch and been like, why is fly down guy me? That's me. I'm trending.
Summer is just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. Yeah, that's right. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and big fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. I switched to Mint Mobile, $15 a month for premium wireless with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text to the nation's largest 5G network. I kept my phone, my number, my contacts, and it took like 5 minutes. Ditch overpriced wireless and check out Mint Mobile. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/TOD. That's mintmobile.com/TOD. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
See, and phones were brand new when I did that Dare thing, so it wasn't as big a deal.
Yeah.
Like enough for somebody to record it, but not like social media enough to like post it everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a copy. I'm not sure who else, but I know at least just me.
Well, we'll all have a copy.
Yeah.
As soon as this episode ends, you will not. You will not make it out of the studio without airdropping the video to us.
Which
we
cracks
have to
me
see
up.
the shame.
It cracks me up when people say it too, because they're like, "Oh my gosh!" They'll watch it and they'll be like, "No, you were serious. No, I really did do that." Yeah. So yes.
I also think one of the like humor wise, when I was subbing for a while, that was when humor was the best, because it's like, look, we all know what the deal is here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a temp. I'm subbing.
I'm a temp.
You make my life easy. I make yours. I write back good notes. Let's not make it crazy. Just don't get me in trouble. That's all I have. It's kind of like when I babysit my kid now. And I have a little talk with him. My wife's like gone out with the friends. And I sit him down and I'm like, here's how this is going to go.
Right.
We know I'm not going to take this super serious all the way. I'm going to do what I got to do. And you just don't get me in trouble. How's that sound? No injuries, no trouble. And then tomorrow the boss is back and we're good.
We're good.
Keep it going. Keep it moving.
That would work though. I mean,
I feel like I never had that. I did it like implied where I was like, hey guys, like, let's have a good day. Let's have a great day, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And, like, you guys are awesome. You're just pumping the kids up because you just want them to like you. And you're like, I'm only here for one day.
Yeah.
But I honestly think if I would have just sat them down and been like, all right, come in here, guys. Let's just have a little, person-to-person conversation.
Yeah.
If you don't screw up my life, I don't screw up yours. Tomorrow, when your teacher comes back, she's like, you guys 5 stars from the sub. That's incredible. Yeah, you didn't get 5 stars. You probably got more like a 3. But I'll give you a 5 if you just let me get through this day.
Make it work.
I'm willing. I am not ethical in this department as long as we get through this day.
Let's make a deal.
Come on. Exactly. And then they feel like they're on the inside of a deal that they didn't know they were going to broker. I feel bad for any sub that went after and they're like, when are we having this talk?
Yeah.
They're like, when do we get 5 stars for like a 3-star performance?
You're not giving us the same deal this guy did?
No, but yesterday we had that guy. But that's how you also know that you're I don't want to say terrible substitute. When everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Mr. Brian. I'm like,
the fact that they knew your name.
Guys. You can't give me a standing ovation on the way in. It's blowing the cover that I have going here at this middle school. Okay.
Well, and the fact that the kids even remember your name should show you that you're a killer sub, because most kids are like, yeah, the one with the hair or the one with the glasses I'm like, they have names. So the fact that they knew your name too, that shows you.
Because they knew it was going to be an easy day. They're
like,
woohoo! Guys, bring your Game Boys. Mr. Brian's here 2 days in a row. No, let's not. Like, remember the deal. 5 stars for a 3-star performance.
Well, apparently,
guys,
play it cool. Draw any attention to this situation.
Well, honestly, even if you're not like an actual by vocation sub, but you're covering a class, the kids still do those things where it's like, bring the Game Boys, whatever. I literally covered a class a few weeks ago, and one of the students told me, he was like, oh, you're Miss, I'm not gonna say teacher's name, but Miss G isn't here today. I was like, no, I'm covering her class. And they're like, oh, well, she lets us play PlayStation. I have my PlayStation in my bag and she lets us hook it up to the TV right here. And I'm like, really? I don't believe you for a minute. And he's like, oh no, come on. I'm serious. Turns out she does.
Oh, that's great.
Turns out she does. But she does it as a part of, like, literally they get like a certain amount of downtime during the class. So not even just incorporating humor, but incorporating some type of joy. Yeah. An allotment for joy apparently works in the classroom as well. So she gives them like that little sector right before the bell where it's like they have like the last 10 minutes of class, which I know some people are going to be like, instructional time should be from bell to bell. Okay, but let's be for real. Okay, so that last 10 minutes, she gives them to like just chill.
All right, guys, tablet time. Everyone pull out your YouTube, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
It's like when you're at a restaurant and you're just like, I've had it. Just finding every kid in the room is just like watching something. And you're like, you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good.
I don't care.
Oh, I love this episode of Blueie.
Sanity. This is when the dad's hungover. I feel that in my soul.
Oh my gosh.
I think like hitting on something that you were talking about Miss G letting her kids play, like just bringing in a little bit of joy for them.
Just a little bit.
I think that's the reason why humor was so important to me in the classroom, was because it allowed these kids, some of the kids who weren't necessarily as strong of a student, as the person next to them, it allowed them to have their moment to shine too, and be the class clown.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that was super important just for them to be engaged in the classroom.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I spoke with Miss G after, and the kid who was telling me this, I thought, he's got to be the kid who's like that kid.
Right.
And she's like, oh no, he's one of my like honor students. Like and I'm like, really? But
Brian?
Really?
Really? That guy.
I'm like, okay. okay then. But apparently, like, this was his outlet. Like, the one class that he didn't have to be so on.
Yeah.
You know, because he's on in all of his other classes, and this class let him kind of, like, let his hair down type of thing. You know, that type of approach. So for him, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, I get to actually just be me and chill. So.
Right.
But also, PlayStation in the class sounds like the biggest setup for failure ever.
Like,
it's so, you're like, I now, hearing the story, you're like, oh, it makes sense. This is a good, you know, outlet for him, and it makes sense, and I understand why you're doing it. But if a kid comes up to you and is like, yeah, so just gonna let you know how things go around here. You know, Miss G lets us play PlayStation at the dude, you are violating the agreement we have where you're gonna get me in trouble
right.
Well,
that's what I was thinking.
Like, there is no way that happens. Like, that sounds like, shoot for something lower. Miss G lets you play with, like, in the back with, like, you know, Legos or blocks game. Or something.
Yeah.
You can go play a board game. Start there, and then let's negotiate to PlayStation.
Right.
PlayStation,
like, get a little more
plugging it in.
Yeah. Now I gotta negotiate the other direction where I'm like, no, we're actually just we're gonna do a word search. I don't want to do a word search. Okay, then what counter?
Yeah.
What's the counter then? Yeah, what are we doing?
But
then?
you know what? Like, now that you say that, I kind of should have thought, like, so because it is so astronomical that this was what he said, that it's that so crazy that, like, obviously maybe it is true because it is so far fetched. Like, why would this be a thing? You know what I mean?
But like, if he's like, hey, sometimes you just get to ride dirt bikes around the playground. You know, we all, you know,
do it.
Go home and get mine real quick. We're just gonna drive around. You're like, none of that is real.
Yeah, you're like, no, that's not a thing. I seriously was like, really, you guys had to wake up real early to get me. Okay?
And then you're like,
apparently you did.
You did.
Okay.
Though.
And then you start thinking to yourself, I could have been playing PlayStation in my room this whole time.
Right.
Like, wait, what? We're allowed to do that?
If I can find some motivational or some redeeming part of this, then I could do this too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be destroying kids in Call of Duty. What are they learning? Humility. So they're learning right now.
Humility. Well, and that's the thing,
World
though.
War
All
II.
the games had to be
They're
pre-approved.
learning about the Cold War.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that she was saying. Miss G was like, all the games are pre-approved, and he knows there's only certain ones that has been approved that he's allowed to play. So, like, there was, because just in case somebody's like ripping, you know, this apart, it's literally she has an approved set of games that he was allowed to play. So
this is high school.
It's high school.
So
I made the mistake.
I teach high school.
I made the mistake it was an 8th grade class, and I made the mistake of telling them my Fortnite.
Oh
name.
Man, your name.
Yeah, it's my Fortnite, so they could track me down. And I was terrible at Fortnite, like really bad at Fortnite. But I was just trying to play and connect with, you know, my nephew. But all of a sudden, all these kids started tracking me down on Fortnite and talking all sorts of trash to me, and just like following me. They just try to kill me in the game. Like, then they tell me to look at their screen. They're like, look, hey, turn around right now. And I turn around, and they just blast. And I was like, you little murderers.
Literally, they're just going around trying to kill you.
It was an entire class of 8th graders who just made it their, like, as soon as they could find me. And then they'd bring it up the next time they saw me. They're like, remember that Fortnite game the other night? I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. Also, you shouldn't have a headset. I don't like that you could talk to me on this. This is
not okay.
No, this
feel
feels like, I do. I feel like I left today and I didn't want to hear from you again.
Right.
I want to just go play Fortnite by myself.
I just want to chill.
I want to go drive a car around in Fortnite and, you know, not do great. I don't know how to use all these buttons. There's too many buttons.
So many buttons.
Like, you know, when you grow up with Nintendo and you have like A and B, there we go.
And
That's all you need. Now there's like finger buttons everywhere.
Having this conversation makes me feel like a grandma. So many buttons.
There's just too many. What do these ones do?
When we had these, it was A and B.
Or this one, hey, Mr. B, do the trigger button. I'm like, all right. And you're like, you just dropped a grenade on your feet. And I'm like, no.
They setting you up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's the best though. Again, another way to connect with kids. I mean, even if the joke's on you.
Oh, totally.
The joke's always on me.
Always. Oh my gosh.
When you moved, well, you went from teaching kindergarten to where did you go from there?
I went. I taught kindergarten, and then I started subbing for a while, and then I went into developmental disabilities with the high school kids, and then I also taught a little bit in a juvenile correctional facility.
Oh, cool.
So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, not
Okay.
for a long time. I was just kind of I was on like a temporary contract because somebody was out on maternity leave. So I kind of bounced around a little bit because that was when I started doing stand up. So
Okay.
I would take like short-term jobs, and a lot of times they'd be in difficult environments because when you're 6'4" and you're a guy, there's not as many men in those environments anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it helps to, a lot of those classrooms need somebody who has projected authority. I project authority? Great, because it ain't happening.
It's not real. It's just a facade.
As long as you think
Yes.
I have an
Exactly.
authoritative vibe,
Yes,
that's all we need here.
That's all.
Yeah, and a lot of those that's why I started working public policy for education, because I didn't like a lot of when you start working in like special ed and some of those other classrooms, you see teachers being super creative because
Yeah.
they have to.
Mhm.
They have to find a way to connect with kids, and they don't get the resources for all of it and stuff. So that's what I got into IEP and educational policy,
Okay.
advocacy stuff.
No, that's awesome.
But that's because you start to see all these different environments, and you're like, these aren't equal at all.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's good that you took that initiative to actually try and make a difference. Because
Right.
a lot of times what you'll find is like the teachers who state the obvious. We all know that it's lacking, but what are you doing to affect the change? So-
Right.
Yeah, that's the best. I love hearing those stories of people being super creative and
Yeah.
creating things out of very, like, the resources that they have, but you see the impact and you're like, man, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, you should share that with everybody. That's a really cool story about how I know in Atlanta right now, the big thing is classrooms having their own little kitchens, their own little marketplaces.
Oh, yeah?
And kids earn credits throughout the week to then to shop and bring food home for the weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're learning about responsibility. They're learning about, doing the best they can, but then they're also learning, like, they go to a little market and some student's going to be the cashier, and they're going to count out like money, and they're going to be able to budget themselves and take home food for the weekend, like canned goods or
Oh my God.
whatever.
That's cool.
Especially in the schools in Atlanta that don't have the resources. Like, a lot of the kids, like, their last good meal might be lunch on Friday, and they don't get another good one until breakfast on Monday in some of those schools.
Yeah.
So being able to not just send kids home with food, but have them go through the process of picking the things and budgeting and deciding, because you'll see kids
Right.
decide on, like, oh man, like, I want this so bad, but I think we need this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, you see them making, more informed decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's real world, like literally
Yeah,
real world
exactly.
lessons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because you're right. Like, a lot of the kids I hear often, like, that they don't have food over the weekend. So a lot of
Mhm.
times we make the goodie bags,
Mm-hmm.
and like we'll take like a huge gallon bag and we'll stuff it with stuff
Mhm.
for the kids to take home for their families for the weekend. But something like that, and not only just solves the problem.
Yeah.
It's almost like that
Yeah.
saying where if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat.
Yeah.
Or if you give a man a fish, whatever. So that in that situation, like, you're teaching those kids those real life skills
Yeah.
and that budgeting process and like what that looks like in addition to helping them.
And what an amazing way to bring in their home lives too.
Mhm.
Right.
To be able to have some accountability of, like, hey, like, not that kind of responsibility of, like, feeding a family should be on, like, an 8-year-old,
course.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but there is this, like, sense of, like, this really helps us out, and, like, you need to do your part
Well,
for
Mhm.
the family.
And them making their decisions on what they want to get based on brothers and sisters,
Right.
Yeah.
parents, could be other family members living in the house, and they're like, well, I'm going to get this stuff because we're going to make sandwiches, or versus, because they could literally get anything. There's chips in there, there's all sorts of stuff. But, some kids, you'd be like, oh, he's just going to get a bunch of fruit roll-ups. But then you watch a student go look and be like, no, I love fruit roll-ups, but that's
Yeah.
not really
Mhm.
what I get. It's a cool thing. I think more schools are starting to do it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like
I've
the
never
idea
heard of
sharing.
that
Me
before. That's
either. Yeah.
amazing.
That is awesome.
That's
And it
really, really
also
cool.
plants that seed too early. Like, I know that they're 8, but it still plants that seed in them, for them to have, like, again, that real world, real life experience. Because like
Mhm.
when they get to the high school and middle school level and they're taking EPF, which is economic and personal finances, which is required now for them to graduate, they'll already have that kind of like little picture of what this looks like.
Yeah.
Now at the high school and middle school level, are they doing the marketplace as well? Or is it just more of the younger
more
grade
in the
levels?
elementary school.
That's
I think
so awesome.
there are some schools, depends on the district. There's a lot of schools
Mhm.
in the Atlanta area that just, this idea is starting to just kind of pop up
Yeah.
all over the place. I think now, I know there is a couple high schools where they actually have their own community market where people in the community can also buy food.
Oh, that's amazing.
And their kids are learning more like having a job. Like there's a
Yeah.
manager
Yeah.
of the grocery store, like a community
Oh
grocer.
my gosh, that's amazing.
Especially in those areas that don't have grocery stores too, because a lot of food deserts where
I've never heard of that.
food desert, it's where there's a specific distance where there's no produce. Not like just
Really?
gas stations and stuff, but there's no markets, so there's no grocery store.
Oh.
They call them food deserts.
Oh.
Dallas, Texas has a ton of them. That's where I got familiarized with them. And that's where they start to do community gardens and things, because you don't want people just living off of gas station chips, which is that's the only thing. If you don't have a car,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
literally.
if you don't have a car and that only place you can walk is half a block. Or
Yeah.
somewhere.
Wow, I've never heard of
That
any
is
of that. That's
so cool.
so cool.
That
Yeah.
was an amazing
Yeah.
segue. I asked you that just because I know that you taught kindergarten. So
Yeah.
I was wondering what the difference was of the humor that you brought to the classroom if you had to change.
When I worked in the juvenile facility, I learned a lot of creative ways to call myself a dork. That was your question? We need to get serious, but no, at the end of the day, I came out of there with a lot of cool slang.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And I would fire it back at him. I'd be like, bet, cat, cat, bet, all these ones.
Yeah.
And then in the juvenile facility, you learned stuff that you had no idea even existed. But basically, it was just creative ways to call me a dork.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Because
I lean into.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And at the kindergarten level, it's so much easier to make a kid laugh when I
just
taught
trip and fall
kindergarten.
down.
Yeah.
Just do
Or just do something silly.
do
Yeah.
a cartwheel over a fence with
Yeah.
a skirt.
A high
Yeah.
school,
Yeah, more than
that too.
Not
In
recommended.
high school, it's a lot harder to make a kid laugh. It's just different because
Yeah.
they're like,
They won't
sorry,
let you
what?
see it.
I'm
They won't
like,
let you see it.
Mm-mm.
No. I'm like, that was funny. Now that's what I always say. That was funny. They were like, it wasn't funny. Rob. I'm like, then why you smiling a little bit? I see that little grin.
I'm going to say it again. I don't think you heard my joke the first time.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. So clearly you weren't listening.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then they started trying to teach me stuff. They're like, Miss Rob, you don't know how to be funny. Let me show you. Let me show you how to be funny. And they'll teach me stuff. And I'm like, that means what now? So even with the slang that I'm sure you learned at the juvenile facility, at the high school level now, I'm having a hard time keeping up. I used to be the teacher who could keep up. I can't keep up anymore.
I'm getting to the stage in my life where I'm like, oh my
I know.
gosh,
I'm becoming that teacher.
I had to
old.
Google that.
Yeah.
Well, I did, but
and then erase it from my search history.
Well, I was a little creative, in a sense, and not really creative. It's just more this is how I made it work. Is I told the kids I know, and then I'm like Googling it that way, and then be like, see, I told you I
Under
already
the
knew
desk with one.
what that means. Yeah, I knew what that means.
Of course I know what Rommel means.
Yeah. Well, the saying this week or this past week was, Miss Rob, I'm gonna clock his tea. I was like, clock his tea.
Clock his.
I was like, what could that mean? Clock
Hold
his
on.
tea. Okay, do you guys? Can you guys guess what clock his tea means?
Probably means punch him in the face.
Legit. Okay. Look at that juvenile facility. They
like-
taught you well.
I know what
Punch
clock
his
means.
teeth?
Huh?
Like punch his teeth? type
No,
of thing, or
clock his tea.
Like what? Clock his
TEA.
tea.
Probably
Yeah,
like his attitude.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna fix his attitude.
That's what
Oh
he said.
my
He's
gosh,
gonna,
I'm too
he's-
old.
I know,
I'm
and I
too
didn't
old
realize
for
I was
this.
until literally as this year. This school year has been eye opening at how I cannot keep up.
in the context of I'm gonna do anything to him. It's generally bad.
Yeah.
It's not like
It's generally like
I'm gonna clock his tea. Oh, you're gonna give him a lot of compliments. Oh, in a very quick
what
amount
if
of
someone
time.
was like, I'm gonna clock your tea.
I'd be like,
I
okay,
love that
ready,
shirt.
go.
The shirt looks
See if you can
so
get 10
good on you.
compliments in a minute. I'm clocking it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the kind of behavior we need in high school.
Well, and some of the stuff is more obvious that I should have gotten, but I didn't get it until after the fact because I went home and asked my sister, who's much younger, and she's like, really? You couldn't even, context clues. And I'm like, because crashing out, I didn't, they're like, Miss Rob, you should crash out, Miss Rob. I'm like, huh? What do you mean?
That's bad for my insurance.
That's
My
right.
premiums.
You guys will
go
learn someday.
Sky high.
Context
I'm trying-
clues would be like crash, accident. I don't
Every
know.
day, my goal is to not crash out anywhere. Not in conversation, not in my car.
My insurance company will drop me if I
I'm trying
crash
to-
out one
Right.
more time.
I'm not going to do it during an episode of White Lotus.
Right.
I'm going to stay awake the whole time.
The insurance will either drop you or raise the rates. They can't afford either of those options. So, yeah, I'm like, nope, no crashing out over here. Yeah.
I think we should probably crash out this episode.
Well played. Well played.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Teachers Off Duty. I am Jess Smith, Teacher Tales of Miss Smith.
I am Leslie Robb of Leslie Robb Comedy.
I'm Brian Moote, Moote Comedy.
And we will see you next time on Teachers Off Duty.
See you guys.
Bye.